What's up, everybody? JJ with Thrivestry here, and today I wanted to talk about women's and men's RX terminology. And depending on your gym and your programming, you may still use the RX moniker. It came from the original days of CrossFit back in the early 2000s, and it had to do with, did you do the workout as it was created, as it was written, as prescribed? And most people can't spell prescribed, so they just started writing RX like a doctor's prescription. And I personally don't have a problem with that terminology when you're trying to use shorthand. It does kind of give people an idea of what is expected, but it's still very unique to the individual. And you may have people who do parts of a workout where they may even scale up and do more advanced than as prescribed, and then the next movement they may scale down according to their abilities. What I prefer is when we actually take away that as prescribed terminology and we write health, athletic, performance. And so people can look at the health option and they're reading it from left to right. And so instead of saying advanced, intermediate, novice, where you're telling the bulk of your people, most of the people, this is the hard thing. Oh, that's too hard. Oh, this one, that's too hard too. Oh, I guess I'll do this one. I guess I'm a novice. And you're telling that woman who's in her 50s, who's probably the fittest of all of her friends outside of the gym, you're still a novice, even though you've been doing this for 7 years. And it's very psychologically hard, and we can remove that and flip it on its head by putting the health option first, where people read the movement and it says health and they go, that's awesome, I can do that. And then they don't even read past that because that's their option. Or they may say health, that looks too easy. Athletic, that one could probably be a little bit too hard. Let me split the difference, or let me ask the coach and see what I should do. And so that's really good to have that building people up instead of breaking them down, and also changing those terms away from novice to health and that RX to performance. And so that when people can't do the performance, they don't feel like they got less of a workout. And that's the problem we have with the RX is if I didn't even do it RX. Or what they start to feel like is, well, since I can't do that movement RX, I'll just scale everything instead of just scaling that one and doing the other ones as written. And so that's where the RX problem comes in. But I do also want to point out with the men's and women's, we started doing women's weight first a long time ago, because most gyms that I've worked with, in my experience the last 15 years, most CrossFit gyms are more than 50% women. That means there are actually sometimes 60 to 70% female to male. And it's still really funny how almost every single program, in fact, until very recently, I didn't see any other programs writing women's weights first. And it just makes more sense to have the lighter load or the easier progression first, then the more advanced one afterward. And I will say that as of the time of this video recording, CrossFit.com has just started putting the women's weights first, which is great. I do like seeing them improving. They also did it at the CrossFit Games. They listed the women's progressions or weights first, and then the men's afterward, which I think is a huge step in the right direction. So I'm glad that they've made those changes. But if you're doing programming and you're creating programming, or you're getting programming from somebody else, ask them to provide the programming with the easier progressions first, or the women's progressions first, so that people can read it from left to right, and you're actually giving the information to the larger population in a more efficient manner. But that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next video.